As triumphant German troops march through conquered Paris in June 1940, President Roosevelt knows the United States can no longer sit idly by. He also realizes we are not ready for this war. As France collapses, General George Marshall warns the president, if 5 German divisions landed anywhere on the coast, they could go anywhere they wished. It was time, he concluded, for America to get serious about arming for war. Roosevelt heeds Marshall's warning. Before Congress, 3 days later, he calls for the production of 50,000 aircraft, a figure some say is impossible. He summons William Knudsen, top executive at General Motors, to begin organizing the mass production of military materials. Knudsen estimates 18 months to retool America's factories, and he immediately goes to work.
It is the purpose of the nation to build now with all possible speed every machine, every arsenal, every factory that we need to manufacture our defense material. We have the men, the skill, the wealth, and above all, the will.
Knudsen couldn't be more prophetic. 18 months later, almost to the day, the Japanese attack Pearl Harbor, and the United States enters the war. Following Knudsen's example, top executives signed contracts for $1 a year salary to oversee the nation's staggering industrial expansion. Many are still skeptical about the enormity of the task, but Knudsen promises the president speed, speed, and more speed. In every corner of America, factories once dedicated to producing consumer goods are refitted, retooled, and reorganized to manufacture weapons and supplies necessary for war. Higgins manufactures landing craft. The Brown brothers build destroyer escorts. Kaiser produces Liberty ships. Ford churns out bombers. And General Motors generates bombers, machine guns, and just about any other weapon one can imagine. To feed the arsenal's insatiable appetite, petroleum output increases by more than 26%, iron and steel production by over 68%, and raw magnesium sees a more than 2 million% increase in production. The construction of merchant and military-type vessels increases by 1,757%. Food production ramps up too, with corn and wheat bushels collectively increasing more than 65%. Knudsen has paved the way for this surge in output by reorganizing the nation's purchasing systems and tax codes. As Secretary of War Stimson notes, if you are going to try to go to war or to prepare for war in a capitalist country, you have got to let business make money out of the process or business won't work. While the undertaking is swift, it is anything but smooth. Political skirmishes must be won. Corruption and greed rooted out. Labor unrest appeased. Washington maintains strict oversight, even clamps down on prices, wages, and profits. While a little-known senator from Missouri ruffles feathers with his investigations into waste and profiteering. Civilians at home hold scrap drives and grow victory gardens to boost military and food resources, as gas, rubber, food, and even silk stocking supplies are rationed for the war effort. In February 1942, Roosevelt bans the production of civilian cars for the duration of the war. With their sacrifices, determination, and hard work, American workers drive the arsenal of democracy upward. Millions pour into factories and shipyards to work as welders, riveters, engineers, and assembly line workers. The undertaking causes enormous social and demographic shifts that will redefine the nation. Over 1 million African Americans migrate from the South to the North to fill jobs, often facing racial discrimination, despite Presidential Executive Order 8802 banning discrimination in federal war work. Other Americans head to the coasts to ply their trades in the shipyards. And when the men leave to fight, over 6 million women step in to take over. The level of production is nothing short of astonishing. At the outset, Roosevelt demanded what seemed like the impossible: build 50,000 planes to fight this war. At a Douglas factory, A B-17 rolls off the line every 90 minutes, while the 42,000 workers at the Ford Willow Run plant build a new B-24 bomber every hour. Incredibly, in 1944, American workers double the president's request, manufacturing 100,000 planes in a single year. Ingenious new technologies and innovations accelerate production. Kaiser uses prefabricated parts to assemble ships, boosting efficiency by a third, while lowering costs by 2/3. More than 41 billion bullets, 2.6 million machine guns, 86,000 tanks all pour out the factory doors, inspiring labor leader Walter Reuther to proudly proclaim that America's battles were won on the assembly lines. But now comes another daunting challenge: how to get this arsenal to our troops and allies on the front lines. Victory hangs in the balance.